we go. Is it?
Hello? Is this thing on?
Good evening, Melrosians, the world over. I'm Tom Catalini. Can nobody else hear the music?
No, it was over.
Oh my God. I swear to God.
You were still hearing it?
Recurring dreams.
Okay, let's go. Go, Tomcat.
Okay.
It's a fever dream, Tom. It's a fever dream.
All right. I know what happened. A little technical difficulty in the other tab because I was sharing the link with Bert on YouTube. It went live and I could hear the audio from the live show in there. So I was hearing everything twice. I'm Tom Catalini.
I'm Jen LeClaire.
Sam Hammer.
And I'm Tom Shampoo.
And this is Let's Talk Melrose, a show where Melrosians talk to Melrosians about Melrose. And it's a show so nice, we'd like to listen to it twice. I apologize. That was the weirdest thing because I'm the only one hearing strange noises in my head, which I guess isn't all that unusual.
I was going to say, we're used to it.
That's part of the course.
Oh, my God.
It's every Tuesday for you, Tom.
Yeah, right, exactly. Right. So speaking of Tuesday, how was your Thanksgiving?
Mine was nice. Mine was out of the zip code. I went all the way down to New York City with family and spent a lovely few days down there. And then Saturday spent 6 hours in traffic making my way back to the 02176.
Yep.
Not fun, but glad to be back.
Normally like 4 hours took you 6?
Yeah, about 4.5, 4 to 4 plus. We stop, we eat, whatever.
Little planes, trains, and automobiles.
Wow. Sam left the zip code.
Yeah, we were in Connecticut. We watched, thank you for covering for me last week. We watched the show from Windsor on the big screen. So you guys were awesome.
Jumbo screen.
Nice. Yeah, we were down too. Yeah, me and Tom.
I couldn't help but get in there, but it was fun to watch. It really is this show is so fun. I have to say, it really is so good.
It's a good show.
I've heard that. I've heard it's a good show.
So I'm going to go next because I left the zip code also. So one of these things is not like the others, but I left the zip code also and went to Central Mass, had a lovely time with the Catalini family celebrating Thanksgiving with a multi-generational celebration, and my daughter Mia's 21st birthday was on Thanksgiving Day. So we came, we had a nice celebration out there. We got her a sash and a crown and a cake and all this, but there were a couple other birthdays because you know how when you only get together periodically, you celebrate the close ones. But hers was a special day. When we came all the way back to Melrose, we actually found a bar open in Boston, and we went into, there was nothing open in Melrose. We went to the bar at the W Hotel in Boston and had a little martini there on her 21st birthday. So it was very nice celebration.
Nice. Well, happy birthday, Mia.
Awesome. Air horn for Mia Catalina.
Yeah,
happy
totally.
Birthday.
21 of those. 21.
Yeah.
But we all are dying to hear from Jen, who stayed in zip code.
We stayed in the zip. So the Martins, we typically host Thanksgiving. So it's usually at our house, and Dave Martin does the majority of the cooking and with help from the girls. And I run around just like getting everything that they need. So it's an nice, easy holiday for me. My parents were here. Shout out to my cousins Melissa and Jake, who you guys all know, and they brought their little girl who's nearly a year old. Her birthday's next week. Her name is Sage, so we were saying that they brought the fresh sage to Thanksgiving. So it was fun to have a little tiny person there.
Yeah.
And we had delicious turkey, courtesy of BT's barbecue. So it was awesome.
Wow.
And delicious pie. Yeah, it was great. Thanksgiving was fun. It was fun. It was easy. It was fun. And delicious.
So I now that you've mentioned BT, I just have to give that guy another shout out. He's blowing up the internet with his donation of 40 to 45 smoked turkeys.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Not to me, by the way. He did not donate 40 turkeys to me, just so we're clear on that.
But also,
housing families. Oh no, to
Bread of Life.
To Bread of Life. Yeah.
So thank you. Good. But he was also on call. And we were FaceTiming as he was teaching me and my family how to spatchcock that turkey.
Spatchcock.
It was not easy with the tools we had, but we did it. And he was just such a good person, such a good friend.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Is spatchcocking done with a knife or scissors?
We needed both. We almost needed to get like a
two
chainsaw.
hands at once.
It was not. I had a rib splinter. That's how untechnical we got.
It's serious business. So last year I cooked the turkey because we had pandemic Thanksgiving, and I learned about the spatchcocking from BT, and it's serious business. It's a non-trivial exercise. But anyway, in my own defense, just to go back for a minute, not insane. People heard the music, so. We had some kind of weird.
Yeah, well, we all heard it, just not twice.
You know what? I think I was in the metaverse.
You may be, yes. You might, yeah, sure.
Your avatar heard the music, Tom. That's what it was.
Right.
Oh my God. Also, happy Hanukkah to all those who celebrate.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
To my chosen homies and Tom.
Yep. And so very quickly, I scored big with my wife. I gave her present last night.
Go on.
And then I gave her a present. Oh my God, that's easy. Anyway, no. I got her a great gift. She's very, very excited about this. My wife walks 1,000,000 miles a week out and around the entire city of Melrose. Power walking, exercising. I got her heated mittens. They have a little battery and they're heated. My wife does not like her cold hands, and so she's very excited. So for Hanukkah,
I can imagine that she appreciates this because we were going out a couple of weeks ago, and it was in the 50s, and she was worried about not having her mittens. So I can't imagine what it's like for her when it actually gets cold.
Yeah.
Wow. So, she loves it. Okay. Very cool. Yeah. So happy Hanukkah, everybody. I agree. All right. So
we're gonna move along.
Yeah.
And this is the news segment.
Okay, cool.
There it is. All right. I'm not that facile with the technology, but here we are. And Jen, what is happening in the news this week in Melrose?
Well, today it's also Giving Tuesday. We've gone through all of the things. We go Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday. Now it's Giving Tuesday. I don't know about you guys, but it sort of feels like those used to be things that would sort of delineate the days. People were sort of trying to carve out their space. But now I kind of feel like it all sort of blurs together. Like I feel like Cyber Monday goes on for days. It's always Small Business Saturday for me. I try to do that as much as I can. But anyway, technically today is supposed to be Giving Tuesday, which is a day where you give back to your sort of charities of choice. And I'm just wondering, are there any we have kind of some recurring gifts. We have some favorites that we do. I always give to public radio because I rely on that a lot. Both GBH and WBUR and Emerson also, where I'm an alum. Destination Imagination, as you guys know, near and dear to my heart. Several other arts organizations, Malden Housing Families, Rosie's Place. Those are a few that we try to give as much as we can to as much as we can too. So those are my favorites. How about you guys?
Nice.
Tom?
I'm with you on. Oh, I didn't know which time you're talking about. I'm with you on housing families, and I also the Humane Society, take care of the pets and the lost, the rescues, and all of that.
Yep.
Right. I will throw a plug in for trustees of reservations. Those folks are great. They have a lot of properties around New England, hiking trails and things. As you know, I'm an outdoors person, so I appreciate the work.
He's a woodsman.
I'm a woodsman. I appreciate the work that they do up and down the coast. Again, properties and trails and things like that. So
I'm going to underscore housing families, but just so I'm going to put a link to the Melrose Together website because we worked with housing families to set aside a specific fund from Melrose Together specifically. So all those funds go direct to families, to their direct needs. We love operating costs and overhead naturally, but any funds that go through the Melrose Together Housing Families Fund go direct to expenses of those families. And we highly encourage people to make those contributions monthly. So $10 a month, you can it doesn't hurt as much, but you actually over the course of the year, 10 times 12 months of the year is $120. So that's pretty sizable for folks. So I'm going to put that link in here because I can.
Nice.
Awesome. Cool. So what else? Yeah. So Giving Tuesday is a great tradition. And what else is going on? You know what else is coming up this weekend? It's Home for the Holidays. Kicks off.
Yes.
Santa will arrive in Melrose this weekend on Friday downtown on his fire truck. I think he comes in to like do a little reconnaissance work to make sure we're all behaving ourselves and doing what we need to be doing. Kind of kick off Home for the Holidays.
This whole city's getting cold. Come on.
Well, he's coming kind of early. You have to wonder why he's in town so early. I can only assume it's kind of, he's like checking us out and making sure everything's all good.
Well, and to make the preparations, we want everybody downtown to do a little Christmas caroling. Charlotte Pierce and I just had a rehearsal this evening. We're going to bring some tunes to the people. Mayor Broder's going to light the tree. They darken all of Main Street. And then the mayor hits the button and the tree lights and Santa comes and it's magical.
So can
and the drum line. Sorry, Sam.
The drum line, yeah. So the drum line with the lights lead Santa
cool.
down. It's
fun,
really, they're really cool. All right, Tom, where are you going to be and what time?
Exactly.
I think we're at City Hall at 5:45.
So you're like legit emceeing this thing.
I don't know about emceeing, but there'll be a microphone and I'll be there. So we'll see what happens.
If there's no microphone, there'll be a mega horn. What do they call it?
I got the megaphone. I got the kickoff.
Santa.
For some reason, they let me kick off this Friendsgiving thing on Thanksgiving. And so, yeah.
I think, you know how there's like, official things for everything. The Red Sox have the official this or that or the other for everything. I think that Tom Catalini should be like the official MC for anything we do in Melrose.
Well,
literally anything.
Well, it appeals to a certain taste, but it's not for everybody. So Bill Butler and I used to co-host one of the trolleys, and we can't do it this year. I'm going to be out of town. But, so like 25% of the people were having the time of their lives and like 75% like just wanted the thing to stop so they could get off. So,
okay.
We'll
but there's also the Derby, the box car, whatever it's called. The
Pinewood Derby.
Pinewood Derby. You've done, you have actually kind of a lengthy CV when it comes to emceeing Melrose events. We were also going to do, Arts on the Equinox for Follow Your Art that got canceled during the pandemic.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Seeing that,
yes.
You have a lengthy CV.
If invited, I will come. I mean, that's basically how it works.
Have Bullhorn will travel.
Yes.
Anyway, okay. So there's lots of great downtown shopping happening this weekend. The reindeer rides at Cedar Park. Christmas tree and wreath sales, both for Melrose Band and St. Mary's School also does a tree sale because the Melrose Band runs out. So get down there Friday night, and then for the rest of the weekend as supplies last. There's also a book sale at the library to benefit Friends of the Library. And then there's several kind of arts-related things. There's pop-up artists' small workshop at Follow Your Art Community Studios, and the West Foster Artists Collaborative have opened a pop-up space right next door to MMTV at 360 Main Street. And that's a group of artists, Melrose artists, that are working together. They've set up a pop-up shop down there. Lori DeCesare from Hourglass Gifts is one of those vendors. So if you're missing Hourglass, that's where you can go to find some of that kind of stuff too. So there's lots going on.
There's lots going on. We insist on getting a tree from the Melrose High Band.
Yeah.
So Stephanie may not make the big show because she's got to at 5:00 be getting a tree. You never know if Shampoo's going to be down there elbowing people out of the way.
Sure. I will be.
Which is how I got screwed last year. But still, it was a wonderful holiday season. But so we have to kind of divide and conquer. All the kids are away at school, so nothing can be delegated. It's all up to us.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
There you go. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, well.
How about
I will not push Stephanie down, Tom. I promise.
Well. I'll find out on Saturday morning.
A black and blue Friday.
Right. All right, let's bring our guests on the show.
Yes.
Hey, Bert, any regrets yet?
No, I heard the music.
Tom heard it twice.
Bert Whittier is our guest tonight, and thank you so much for coming on. I was just saying before the show, I feel like I know you. You're a friend of mine coming on the show, but I read your bio earlier, and I feel like I don't know anything about you actually. So
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I keep it a secret.
It's on the internet, so it's semi-hidden. But you were at the the middle school for a while teaching.
From the year before the school opened for 10 years I taught English.
Wow, that was not on your website. I'm just going to point that out. But also, I still found you're still listed as the GSA advisor. Did you know that?
I am still the GSA advisor.
Excellent. You're still the
good.
GSA
Okay.
One of three.
Okay, wonderful.
Trivisor, I guess that would be.
And then you were also on our latest superintendent search committee as a community
Correct.
member. So you're
true.
pretty embedded in the things that we do around here in our schools. So we wanted to get you and your time tonight to talk about in more detail than we did with Karaji, although fabulous, but about the youth behavior risk survey that's administered every 2 years. So you're kind of boots on the ground with working with students who are filling out this survey. I'll put the links into the Patch article and also the presentation that was given by some of our school administrators. But can you talk through some of the findings that you wanted to point out to you? Yeah.
Sam, before we get to that, I just want to ask Bert to just explain what it is, what the survey is, and who takes it, and why it's done every 2 years. Just so folks can hear that.
Disclaimer: I'm not a CDC expert, but the survey actually comes out of the Centers for Disease Control, and it's administered every 2 years, and it's administered across the country. There are some states that can opt out of it. They don't want to participate for some reason. There are other states that do make it available to communities and districts throughout the state, but because their numbers aren't necessarily great enough to give a good sample, the numbers are only aggregated into the national survey. They don't break out into state surveys particularly well. Massachusetts is a state that generally has a large response to this biannual, every 2 years survey. So some years, I think it was only given from the 7th grade to the 12th grade, but I know at least the previous survey was administered to 6 through 12. So it's a pretty intense survey. It's several pages long, and it covers all kinds of what the CDC deems risky behavior, ranging from drug use, sexual behavior, dietary decisions, or dietary, bad choices around food.
Yeah,
let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And they also are now breaking out the data so that they can look at overall populations. They can look at how males respond, how females respond. They now are breaking out the LGBTQ plus community. In fact, several years ago, I think the last time I was involved in administering the survey, I became aware that the choices that they gave students for identifying their gender was binary. It was either male or female. And I actually ended up writing an email to the CDC suggesting they needed to broaden their options in that category. So, and I think they have. I'm not sure. I think they have. But So that's kind of the background of the
Did
survey.
you find any? Do you have any findings that you wanted to point to that of the general overall survey responses that you found of interest?
Well, everybody rightly is focused on the LGBTQ response in terms of how the pandemic affected their mental health. And truthfully, it is disturbing. I want to just let people know that those numbers are, for that grouping, is always elevated when compared to the general population. Now, let me back up a little bit and say one of the reasons why I'm involved in the work that I'm doing is because in several different research projects and surveys, the number is, in general, 40% of the LGBTQ population has considered some form of self-harm. And often that's connected directly to how they perceive they are being accepted or not accepted at home. So that my motivation is to do whatever I can to help students understand that they have choices in terms of how to approach feelings of alienation and non-acceptance and non-support. Let me say the good news with that 40% number is that I think back in 2017, there was a study done of LGBTQ people, and they specifically looked at young people who are coming from supportive families. And that 40% number drops to become essentially equal to the general population of young people and their feelings of alienation from the family. So the message here is we need to find ways to support LGBTQ plus kids. And I think that I know that people in the school district are dealing with this. I've had conversations with people in the schools. I know the school committee is concerned. We all have to be concerned. And I think there is a problem in the sense that I think very often LGBTQ kids are invisible and for the general community. I see them in the GSA, and I know that the high school has a GSA, but not every LGBTQ plus kid is involved in the GSA. So
what's the GSA?
Good question. It used to be the Gay Straight Alliance, which was actually started here in Massachusetts. It was started at a school, I think a private school, and it has grown into a national phenomenon. There are thousands of GSAs. It is GSAs are sort of administered by GLSEN, GLSEN, which is a national organization and does great work. But several years ago, they changed the name from Gay Straight Alliance to the Gender Sexuality Alliance, which is in some ways a much more inclusive, inclusive name.
Yeah.
So I had a conversation with kids in the GSA, in the middle school GSA, a few weeks ago about this issue. And they said that the end of the school year of 2019 and 2020, it was tough. I think it's tough for everyone, but I think for LGBTQ kids, I think often they feel isolated, and GSA is an opportunity, is a place where people can come and feel accepted, can be who they are. But not every, as I said, not every LGBTQ plus kid comes to the GSA. And if you think about other kids during the pandemic, they have a lot of kids are in sports. Not all kids who participate in the GSA participate in athletics. They aren't on, they may not be team members, although that's not that's not 100% true. But very often, I think LGBTQ plus kids struggle with isolation, and the pandemic only exacerbates that. It's, during the pandemic, I know there were all kinds of activities still going on, athletics, soccer, hockey, whatever. But that kind of support group for LGBTQ plus kids and other kids too did not necessarily exist for everyone.
I think Sam and I are probably going to ask the same question. So,
You go ahead.
and if I'm wrong, then Sam jump in, because yours is probably better than mine. But before the show, we talked about these, like you said, these are serious issues. We're all concerned about the health and well-being and safety of the kids in our community. So what are some of the strategies that you're close to this? This is something for our entire community to address. I'm struck by the fact that you said, you're right that not, and Tracy mentioned too, not all kids will seek out the resources that are available at the GSA. When you couple that with the idea that one of the most important places is also support at home. So if you're not having that, so it's not just a school issue. We're talking about schools and home and the community at large. So what are some of the ways that we can help support our kids?
A lot of it happens in school. I've been working with particularly elementary schools around gender issues. Working with staff to equip them to have conversations with students around gender. And I know I know some people get really uncomfortable with that. They'll say, I think elementary school, it's too young to be talking about gender with kids. But the fact is, kids are already talking about it. And they may not be talking about it in a way that is affirming or even accurate. And so that can be hurtful. So it is important for schools to be able to talk to kids about gender and the fact that in their midst, there are non-binary kids. There are gender expansive kids. And when the teachers I've worked with and the administrators are clear that they see this as an important thing, and they want to do the right thing. They haven't necessarily had a lot of experience interacting with kids around this issue. And so they're a little bit, I think probably like a lot of parents, are a little they don't want to make a mistake, and so they're a little reluctant to kind of get into the subject. But they are willing, and I can see that they actually are having. I know in more than one conversation, more than one situation, they are having these conversations, and I think it is making a difference. So I would say that equipping schools to be able to deal with the subject, and that work is continuing. I think the community needs to be more aware that LGBTQ kids are part of our community, and a lot of times I think we tend. It's like, how are we doing for time here? I mean,
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got all night.
All right. For one statistic I share with people is 40% of homeless kids are LGBTQ plus. Again, that tells me that they are not being accepted at home. They aren't getting that support. I think in Melrose, I think there are many families that are providing that kind of support, and that will make a huge difference for those gender expansive kids. So I think if as a community we can become more conscious of affirming, and I'm going to blank on what store this was, but I was a couple of weeks ago walking down Main Street and I saw a progress flag up in the store window, and kids talk about that.
Yeah. So
yeah.
you're also so you mentioned the families supporting each other, but you're also one of the key kind of leader or shepherds with the EPIC group that is in Melrose. So if anybody is a parent of a child who is LGBTQ plus, there's once a month you get together with these parents who then also support each other in their journeys. Can you talk a little bit more about not only EPIC and the response to that, but also how do you feel we're doing for progress in Melrose, and what are the other things we should be working on?
Well, let me say a word about EPIC. That really grew out of a conversation in the middle school with parents who wanted to know more about the GSA. And one of the parents said at that meeting, gee, I wish there was an opportunity for parents to gather like this and talk about these issues. And really, I need to I got a hat from Biddy and Bose the other day.
Nice.
And so I have to
Go ahead.
my hat to my co-facilitator with EPIC, Tracy Cruikshank. She really is a force and a gentle force that really helps connect with people throughout the community, I think. So I'm grateful that she's part of EPIC, and I'm grateful that she's a friend. So I think that what can happen in the community is, and I think this is happening to some degree. I mean, we see it like at Follow Your Arts. I love on their railing, they've woven in the rainbow colors. Whatever we can do to let kids know that they aren't invisible. And one of the things, I see a comment here from Tracy Jean that adults need to step up and be an example of how to embrace diversity. That's absolutely right. And I think we need to think about diversity in the most diverse way we can. I know we do a good job around Martin Luther King Day. There's always a community event, and we really think about what that means for us. I would say that over the past few years, the Pride event in June is a way that kids feel empowered around that. But I think parents need to have conversations with kids. And I've been saying to people, one important way we can help LGBTQ kids is to have conversations with non-LGBTQ plus kids. Because if those kids understand that being different is okay, then the kids who are feeling different will feel okay.
Right.
So the other thing I would add to that, Bert, is to listen. So I have learned the most from listening to my kids and others, and just having the conversation. So and I think many of us are not trained, don't know what to say, don't necessarily know how to handle things, but just to enter or cultivate a conversation and then listen has been super helpful to me. To learn from the kids as well. Like you said, they're already discussing this. They're already talking about this and other things. And I just, the broad issue of mental health, I think that this survey brings to light. It's acute in LGBTQ, but it also applies to everybody. And the kids are wrestling with complex, intricate, interrelated issues, and they're navigating
Absolutely.
all kinds of stuff. And we're usually, I know I have as a parent had a kind of naive attitude at times. Oh, well, they know the things that I tell them, or, the teacher tells them, but they're into everything, just like we were when we were kids, but we sort of forget that as adults. So anyway, I have found it to be helpful just to be available for conversations, to try and initiate conversations, and for me personally to listen. And they discuss things in quite a lot of nuance. The kids I have found, are quite sophisticated with all these issues.
Sure. That's absolutely true. The kids in the GSA, I learned from them. I mean, a few weeks, well, probably a month ago now, someone was talking about a term that I had not heard before, and they had it down. They knew what they were, they pay attention. So, and I agree, listening is crucial. I would just add a little footnote to say it's incumbent upon parents to let kids know that they want to listen. I think a lot of times kids feel like, oh, they don't want to hear what I have to say, So that the way you're approaching it tells me that you've sent that message that you do want to listen, you do want to hear what kids have to say.
Well, you try to teach that, you try to treat them with respect. So I learned a lot of this from my wife, who's got a background in early childhood education. And just like there were little things when the kids were small about just get down to their level. If you do something wrong, you need to apologize to them. It's kind of respect. It's a lot of what it comes down to in my mind. But
absolutely. Yeah.
So we were just talking about like the family unit quite a bit, and then talk families to families. But back to the survey, just to one of our viewers reminded me that the schools just administer the survey. They're not the sole entity responsible for coming up with critical programs or projects or activities that really the district, health officials, other community providers, and they work together to respond to these findings. And so I went back to the presentation from the survey that I put in the chat earlier. Some of the things at the middle school are project impact, where there are student peer mentors, extended team time, school counselors, guidance intramural Melrose recreation clubs and activities at the high school. Again, Project Impact Crew, a grade-based community situation, which I don't know anything about. I'd love to hear that. And then again, school counselors, athletics, and clubs and things. First of all, what is Crew? And second of all, if you were, on your own, what do you think? What have you heard? I know Tracy mentioned something that they do in Stoneham that I thought was fascinating. But what is Crew, and what else can we do?
If I start talking about Crew, I'm probably going to misspeak.
Okay, never mind.
It's a high school. It's a high school thing, and I know it involves kind of peer-to-peer stuff with in small groups. Beyond that, I would not be comfortable, and
okay.
I don't want to misrepresent something.
We'll find. We'll get somebody on. But is there anything that
he's still new to the show?
He doesn't know this.
I mean, I've learned to say I don't know a lot. So
one of the things that our mutual friend Tracy mentioned, that she's a middle school teacher in Stoneham, and one of the things that they do every day with their middle school students is they do a survey of those kids, like a pulse, a test of how they're doing of that day. How are you feeling today? Better or worse than yesterday? Do you need help with something? There's like an entire very quick survey that they do at homeroom. And there were 2 questions on there that I thought were really interesting. One was, do you need to reach out to a guidance counselor to get support? And usually they say no. But the other question is, do you want a guidance counselor to reach out to you for support? And if they say yes, I mean, it's all within the privacy policy of that school, but this daily pulse check of these kids has been working very well for that community. And I don't know, we can have Tracy on to talk more about it, but some of these things, other districts must be doing things that we could, again, 365, a holistic approach to how to support these kids, not only inside of the building, but also outside the building.
In the community, or in their at home,
Well, one of the things on the survey was about your access to a trusted adult, right? And how important does that end up being, Bert, do you find? And are there other examples beyond parent teacher that come to mind? Again, just trying to broaden our community thinking here in terms of what kids, who's in the go-to list for some kids in terms of trusted adults, and how important and how we can position ourselves to be available for that.
I know that administrators have heard that, heard the results, and are working on ways to address that, to get to have more kids feel that they're being heard and there are trusted adults that they can turn to. And particularly, I know that is happening in the middle school. And I don't think they're there. I don't think they've arrived at at the solution yet, but they're working on it. That particular item was something that I think got a lot of people paying attention. I think the pandemic school years have been really tough, not just on students, but on teachers. And I think a lot of teachers were absolutely trying their best, but I think it was really a debilitating experience for them in some ways. So I really feel like teachers were doing 110% and not being able to connect. I mean, even the last year, the first day of school, 6th grade teachers were not able to get to know kids the way they normally would get to know kids.
Right.
Right.
I think sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say it. The trusted adult is essential, and if we look into the community, sometimes trusted adults, people we think might be trusted adults, don't necessarily meet the criteria for kids.
Right.
And I want to be really careful when I talk about this, but I am aware that there are a lot of LGBTQ kids who really are uncomfortable around religion. And I think a lot of times a trusted adult would be, a clergy person, for example. That's not necessarily true for the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that. Yeah.
Now,
Well,
let me also say, I feel like I've got to do footnotes all the time.
Yeah.
There are clergy who are very supportive of the LGBT.
Of course. Of course.
well, you have 2.5 empty nesters on this screen right here. So I think you have, if you need, conversation to be had with the community. There are people who are not parents of children in the system right now that are grown-ups that are willing to have those conversations, to figure this out. They can have
and we can vouch for them. We know they're kids, so we know they've raised between the two of them five amazing kids.
Well, I would
I'm 1 foot out, so 5.5 amazing kids.
Yeah, and I would just say to echo, the teachers have been through the ringer, the parents working at home and dealing with everything. Everybody's been through the ringer in this pandemic. I thought that the entire survey, even though it occurs every 2 years and the numbers go up and it's particularly acute in the area we're talking about, I think it is important to recognize that it's been a stressful experience for like the entire world. And we got to just give each other a break and take a breath and have some grace with each other, I think, overall. So, and I guess, okay. Do you want to say something, Bert?
Yeah, I will.
I'm going to get into the rapid fire questions after this, but
all right.
From your bio, but go ahead.
Let me just say, in that conversation I had with the middle school at GSA, I said to kids, so how are you doing this year? How are things going? And they said, oh, it's better. It's better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. My daughter in high school would say the same. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Listen, I know we're run over time, but your bio is so fascinating.
We have some questions.
You have created commercials that were seen on every TV station in New England. I grew up in New England. Is Fudgy the Whale one of them?
No.
Anything I would recognize.
I started my career in the media doing Jordan Marsh commercials.
Oh, okay. I remember.
Wow. Wait. I'm thinking of the Jordan's Furniture guys.
No.
Jordan Marsh
not
clothing.
Not to be confused with
Jordan Marsh was competing with Filene's back in the day.
That's right.
Yes,
Jordan Marsh, of course.
It says here you even get a chance to work on a television series about a private detective. Was it Magnum PI?
It was Banachek.
Banachek.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Which was
Did he work with Spatchcock?
Who was George Papard was the star.
Ooh.
Yeah.
A-Team. That's the A-Team, isn't he? Isn't that the A-Team? George Papard?
Yes.
Was he face?
Yeah.
No, he's the other guy.
He played it was sort of a spin-off of the Thomas Crown Affair. In fact, they used his house in Boston was the same house that was in the Thomas Crown Affair up on Beacon Hill.
And you also drove a car around the Talladega Speedway at 140 miles an hour. What's that like?
I did. It's not as exciting as you might think.
It's not as fast paced as the life in Melrose.
So, because of the banks, when you go into a turn, you hardly turn the wheel at all. you just push on the accelerator.
Bert, you know
sounds
where
terrifying. That's how I drive around Melrose, by the way. Just saying.
No, it's 25 miles an hour.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bert, do you know
Definitely.
where a snowman, snow woman, or non-binary snow person puts their money?
Oh my God.
No.
In the snowbank. That's what you reminded me of.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, it might be
That could
time.
be- that
It
could
might
be
be
the cue.
time to.
It's
time to
time.
end
That
the
could be
show.
it.
Yes. All right. I'm also going to put a link to your book, What If I Am, and a link for to buy. Yes, I just bought my copy. It'll be here very shortly. How thick is it? It looks pretty thick. Oh, okay.
LTMM book club coming.
It's about 230 pages.
Easy peasy.
There's
Easy
also
peasy.
a section in there for resources for adults.
Wow.
Excellent.
Okay.
I
Cool.
can't wait to
Great.
read it. We should do a book club and have you back
Yeah.
and talk about that.
This was such an important show, and you were so helpful. It was so lovely to speak with you, Bert. Thank you for everything that you're doing in the community. There's work to be done. We certainly, I think in the Patch article, it said somebody said something like if there's one kid who's suffering in our community, that's already one too many. So do what we can as a community to one Melrose for all our kids. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking me an important topic. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And now we dance.
Yes. And we will see you. We'll see you around town.
Okay.